I think there's a lot of mediocrity in today's NFL.
Yeah.
I don't see the excellence that I saw in the past.
Why not?
And
why not?
I think the coaching isn't as good as it was. I don't think the development of young players is as good as it was.
I don't think there is much development at this point. There's a lack of development. There's a lack of development at the pro level. In some ways, there's a lack of development. In some ways, they're overdeveloped because they actually are starting at a young age. Maybe there's a physical development that I see that's probably a bit better, but the mental learning how to study the game, learning the tactics, learning how to watch film, learning how to deal with the emotions of a competitive program, going up against a school rival, failing in front of 70,000 people. I think we're lacking the mental, emotional development.
Unlike Mina Kimes and Monica McDougal, along with other pretend analysts at ESPN, Uncle Casey does not pretend like he is an expert. Although I do know the difference between Shedeur Sanders and Barry Sanders. I don't pretend to be an expert. I can't tell you what Patrick Mahomes is thinking when he's analyzing a defense at the line of scrimmage. I can't tell you what Andy Reid is considering while he's trying to figure out why the Chiefs' offense is struggling to start the season. What I can tell you, and I have been telling you guys this for the past 2, maybe 3 years now, the modern NFL product sucks. I mean, it sucks. When I don't know the reason for something, I prefer to listen to people with the experience, the knowledge to find out. When it comes to analyzing why the current NFL product is the drizzling shits, the last person I would consult with is Mina Kimes. She's too busy analyzing meaningless statistics. Did you know on Aaron Rodgers' last pass, the ball crossed the hypotenuse at a 45-degree angle, with it being a 60-degree day at 1:30 in the afternoon, with Aquarius lining up with the Big Dipper? These conditions allowed the ball to hit the receiver perfectly. Aaron Rodgers crosses the hypotenuse like Moses crossed the Red Sea. If I'm wondering why the NFL is the drizzling shits, which I am, one of the first people I'm going to listen to is Tom Brady. I don't think I need to explain why Tom Brady is an expert on the subject. According to Tom Brady, one of the reasons the NFL has become painfully boring is the lack of development of young players. Me personally, I think the lack of development is starting at the high school and the collegiate level. We kind of talked about this yesterday on the second channel while talking about Arch Manning. Physically, Arch Manning is gifted, but God-given talent is only half the battle. I think a lot of these kids are entering the NFL and they're not mentally prepared. From Pee-wee all the way through college, these physically gifted athletes, they're constantly being told how great they are. Ooh, you're the best, Tiger. It's not your fault you lost the game. Your coach is clueless. The referees were paid off. When all you've heard your entire life is how great you are, you eventually start to believe it. Every day, I receive hundreds of comments telling me how great the channel is. While I definitely appreciate it, while it's nice to be recognized for your work, while it's nice to be supported and appreciated, I gotta remind myself, don't buy into your own hype. Do not allow yourself to become complacent. 20 years ago, when I was 20 years old, I would not have had the maturity to do that. The KC athletes have always been told how great they are. This wasn't a problem in the NFL in the past. Yeah, but 20 years ago, they weren't constantly seeing it every day on social media. 20 years ago, they weren't allowed to transfer to another program in college because the coach was being an asshole and refusing to play them. After his second year at Michigan, Tom Brady wanted to transfer. He was willing to risk sitting out a full season. He was willing to leave one of the most prestigious programs in the country to go play at Wiener State. Tom Brady was frustrated because not only was he not starting, Not only was he not playing on Saturday afternoons, he also wasn't getting reps in practice. He complained to the coach, and the coach told him, "Quit worrying about what everyone else is doing and worry about what you're supposed to be doing." The coach told him, "If you want to be the best, if you want to be the starter at my program, you gotta earn it." Tom Brady whined and complained, "The coach is being a meanie." So they sent him to the sports psychologist at the school. At the time, Tom Brady was only getting 2 reps in practice. He meets with the sports psychologist, and he's once again whining and complaining. Psychologist tells him, "I want you to take advantage of those 2 reps that you're getting. You take those 2 reps, and you make those the best 2 plays of every practice." Finally, it clicked. Finally, Tom Brady was willing to listen. He treated those 2 reps of practice like they were the Super Bowl. Soon, he was getting 4 reps, then 6 reps, 10 reps. Next thing you know, he's the starter at Michigan. 25 years later, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. That's the mental development that Tom Brady's talking about. That's the mental development that's missing from the NFL today. That story of Tom Brady, it doesn't happen today because Tom Brady would just get frustrated and transfer to another school. More than likely, he would probably be their starter, but he would miss going through the shit. He would miss going through the stages of development that would benefit him the rest of his career. I think Tom Brady's right. The reason the NFL's tough to watch, the reason most of these games are painfully boring, players, specifically quarterbacks, are not being developed mentally. The question is, how long before it negatively impacts the NFL where it matters most? Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel in the description below. Earlier today on the second channel, talked about the deep shit that Mark Sanchez is currently in. Prosecutors have upgraded charges against Mark Sanchez. He's now being charged with a felony, and rightfully so. Yesterday afternoon, the New York Post obtained photos of the elderly man that Mark Sanchez attacked. And it ain't good. I explain why Mark Sanchez is gonna be fired by Fox Sports and why he could potentially be sharing a prison cell with Captain Doofus of Antifa. So if you haven't already, click the link in the description below, subscribe to the second channel. For years now, I have been complaining about the quality of play in the NFL. After week 1 of this season, I thought things had changed. Week 1 of the 2025 season, it was one of the best weeks of the NFL that I'd seen in years. But the last 4 weeks, and especially yesterday, it has been absolutely awful. Now, is every game bad? No, but there are far too many games ending in blowouts. There are far too many games that are over with by halftime. That is not supposed to happen in the NFL. The salary cap is designed to make every team even. The NFL is an equity league. Every team is supposed to be equal on paper. Now, there have always been bad teams, but I don't know if I've ever seen this many bad teams at the same time. The Jets are a flaming ass fire. I would call the Jets the worst team in the league, but that would be insulting to the Cleveland Browns. Panthers are unwatchable. The Dolphins are pathetic. The Giants, the Saints, the Raiders, the Ravens, though they kind of have an excuse since most of their starters are on injured reserve. The Bengals are atrocious. The Titans are an embarrassment. According to their own starting quarterback, the Titans are ass. That is damn near a third of the league that's unwatchable. A third of the league is fighting for the number 1 pick in the draft, and it's early October. Once again, I was bored yesterday watching NFL Red Zone. There were 6 games in the early window. 4 were blowouts. It was so bad, even Scott Hansen was talking about it. When they got to the witching hour in the early window, Scott Hansen was looking for a real witch to cast a spell to make this league entertaining. The decline in quality of play, it hasn't impacted the NFL yet. And look. The NFL may never feel the impact of it. The quality of play has been declining for years, and the ratings keep going up. And to be honest with you, I really don't know if there's much that the NFL can do about the problem. College is supposed to prepare you for the real world, and a lot of these quarterbacks are not being developed in college. Once they get to the NFL, coaches don't have the time to teach them the basic fundamentals. Training camp's been cut short. Teams aren't allowed to practice the way they have in the past. Kellen Moore is using valuable practice time during training camp to put paintball guns in the players' hands and telling them to paint each other with stiff balls. Once you get to Sunday, you have two teams who look completely unprepared. Is it any wonder why the product is tough to watch? I think another problem in the NFL, we're not patient enough with these young quarterbacks. Take Spencer Rattler, for example. For the most part, Spencer Rattler is improving every week. Now, is he the long-term answer in New Orleans? I don't know, but you know who else doesn't know? Everyone else. But that doesn't stop fans from demanding that Spencer Rattler be benched. The Jets gave up on Sam Darnold. Browns gave up on Baker Mayfield. Rams gave up on Jared Goff after he led them to the Super Bowl. The Green Bay Packers are arguably the most consistent organization in the league. Damn near every year, Packers are making the playoffs, or at least they're in contention. Why? Because they take their time developing quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers sat for years behind Brett Favre. Jordan Love sat behind Aaron Rodgers. That's pretty much how it used to be across the league. During his rookie season, Drew Brees was the backup to Doug Flutie. He played one game his entire rookie year. But if you listen to Drew Brees, he will tell you that he learned a shitload that season watching Doug Flutie. How does he prep? What's he doing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? What's he doing throughout the week to prepare for the game? How does he lead the team? The quality of play in the NFL has declined because the quality of play at the quarterback position has declined. And I don't know how the NFL solves the problem. Maybe, especially my generation, millennials, maybe we were spoiled the last 20, 25 years. Maybe we were spoiled watching the greatest generation of quarterbacks to ever play the game. But whether we're spoiled or not, it really doesn't matter because the expectation was set. We're used to seeing highly competitive football. We're used to seeing close games. We're used to seeing high-profile matchups between two elite quarterbacks. In the last few years, the NFL has failed to meet or deliver those expectations. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.